Welcome in, welcome in, welcome in, guys. We're going to be talking about this Cincinnati fight that happened last weekend. I'm sure you guys have all seen the video. Well, the biggest takeaway that I have from this video is I think America is doomed, guys. I honestly think that America is doomed. You know, we have so many people out there in the country right now that are scared, you know, especially in Cincinnati, because I don't know how this case is going to turn out. You know, we had a woke police chief who is almost mad at the journalist. She's almost mad at the journalists and the people reporting on this and all the social media influencers more than the actual people who were actually involved in a crime, which is kind of very interesting to me. But the biggest problem that I have with this case is, what did it say about crime in America, and how are we going to address well, let's just be honest here, the black crime in America? How are we going to address that? Well, one of the things that we got to address it, how we start about it is talking about it, right? The biggest thing that we can do is talk about the black crime and how it looks. The biggest thing for me is that I don't think it's going to get talked about. I think what out now is you can see the mayor, who's a minority, they actually bragged. The police chief, the mayor, talked about how diverse their community is, especially when it comes to the administrative level. You know, the mayor, the police chief, deputy police chief, and all these other people that are either minorities or women and stuff like that. I think after looking at some of the statements that the police chief has made and the mayor has made too, and you can actually see some of the clips of the people in the background, I think they're actually going to go after some of the victims. You know, the people that you saw. I'm not going to show the video. I'm sure everybody has seen the video, but they're going to go after some of the victims, unfortunately. The victims, obviously, you see were the two white gentlemen, Russian. I'm not sure if they're Russian or whatever, but that's what the reports are saying, that they're Russian, and the woman that was knocked out. So in the beginning of the video, you can see looks like a black guy and a white guy are squaring up with each other. And after that, it looked like the black guy kind of initiated it with he kicked him, and then the white guy slapped him, and then all hell breaks loose after that. So how they're going to prosecute the case. So they already arrested 3 people. One of the ladies that, you know, initiated a contact with the lady, she was the one that swung first time, and then a guy knocked her out. So after she was knocked out, that lady had parking tickets, okay? So she was involved with parking tickets, nothing really crazy. The other guy had 4 felony charges. The biggest thing that I want to say is that if you have someone like that that has felony charges, clearly a violent offender, why was this guy out in the first place? This guy has 4 felony charges. What is the purpose of him being out? Why is the city of Cincinnati not taking this seriously? Now, you can say that, you know, he did his time, whatever, but the problem is that this gentleman was able to have 4 gun felony, but let's just imagine if there was a white person that had 4 gun felony charges, he'd be in prison for sure. So this person not only was involved, one of the people that were stomping on the guy's head, he not only was doing that, but he actually was released on bail for $400. So his bail was only $4,000. Okay, this is crazy. His bail was only $4,000. That means you only had to pay 10%. So it was only $400 he actually had to pay to get out of prison, which out of jail, which is crazy to me. But because DEI is so crazy now, the problem that we're going to have is I think they're actually going to go after some of the victims. And that is wild to me, because I just do not understand the crime in America and how we can justify the ability to ignore the black crime in America. Let's just be honest here, okay? This was a black mob attack. Imagine. You know, I got a video coming out later about this, but imagine. If roles were reversed, what would happen to this country? What would happen in America if roles were reversed and you saw black people, 2 black people, being stomped in the head repeatedly by white guys? What would you think? How do you think America would react to a situation like that? Now, we all know what would happen. We 100% know what would happen. We know that there'd be riots. We know that there'd be buildings being looted. We know that there would be buildings being burnt down. We know all these things that would happen. The problem in America is that we're not talking about it, right? We're not talking about all the black crime that's happening in America. Why aren't we talking about it? Well, the problem that we have in America is that we are, especially with the left-wing media, because the left-wing media controls the narratives, right? You have the CNN, they have MSNBC, they have ABC, and they have NBC. They control the narratives right now. So what happens is if they're not talking about it, the only one that's actually doing a good job and talking about it is Fox News, right? That's the only people that are talking about it is Fox News. So the problem is Fox News doesn't want to have anybody to be a victim. They don't care about skin color. And that's the reason why I watch Fox News. They don't care about skin color, whether you're black, whether you're white, whether you're purple. If you're doing something wrong, they're going to hold you accountable. The problem with the left-wing media is that they're not going to hold you accountable. They're going to make excuses for you. And that's what we see in this Cincinnati case. We see that the black people are justifying what happened. You know, you can see, you know, if you look at some of the comments that I have in my shorts and the video that I'm going to have, you know, they'll call me a coon, they'll call me Uncle Tom, they'll call you all this type of stuff to kind of do ad hominem. What's ad hominem? Well, that is pretty much you're attacking the person instead of attacking the argument. You know, so when I say that black people in this community, now there's not every black person, we know this, okay? But at the same time, what we need to do is address the crime. 12% of the population, okay? 12% of the black population makes up 50% of the crime. That is nuts. That is just, you can't fathom how much crime that is. So it's to the point right now where America is looking at two things, okay? You see this situation and you see this innocent, poor lady. And she's the one that I feel most sorry for. The guy I feel really sorry for too, but the girl, she was literally just running to help her friend, just literally running to help her friend get off the ground. And she was knocked out cold. Imagine that's her first time in America. I think I read a report that she, you know, went back to Russia or whatever the case may be, but imagine that's her first time in America. And, you know, they're all on the street and they're seeing all these cool people. And however the fight started, whether it was a verbal, we know that there was a verbal situation. We don't know exactly what was said. You know, some of the people in the black community are saying that they heard a N-word slur out there, or they heard this, you know, there was